All right, so we finished our long slog of JavaScript classes, and we covered a lot of stuff that's going to come in handy in this section. Because now we're going to talk about how do we adapt or tweak classes to work within TypeScript, to have types. And it's pretty much the exact same stuff we just learned, except we add on some typing, but there are some important differences, some nice shortcuts we get with TypeScript. So I'm now going to work in my index.ts file. We were working in index.js because we were just writing JavaScript. I didn't want to get all the TypeScript errors because we're not typing anything. Now, if you skipped the last couple of videos, we made a class called player. That's kind of all that matters for now. And for this video, all I care about is that a player has a first and a last name, and they're both going to be strings. And let's just go ahead and try and type that out in TypeScript. So I did go ahead and copy the contents of this index.js file over to a separate file because as soon as I change something in my TypeScript file, it's going to recompile. I have my TypeScript, the watch mode running, and it will then replace the contents of this file. So this is going to go bye-bye very quickly. But anyway, I'm going to define a class in here called player, and that's very valid JavaScript and TypeScript, it's just a class. And I'm going to add a constructor in here. And it's going to accept a first and a last. First and last. And then we're going to set this dot first to be first and this dot last to be last. And you can see I'm getting a lot of squigglies, a lot of errors. It's saying, first of all, we've got an implicit any type going on here. So this is just like any other function parameter. We know what to do here, right? We can set that to be string if that's what we want. Last name is a string as well. Okay, so that gets rid of two errors. But then what about these? Property first does not exist on type player. So in TypeScript, we can't just go ahead and initialize a property in a constructor like this without first telling TypeScript about it and telling it the type of first and of last. So what we do instead, or in addition, is up top here, we say first is a string, last is a string. So we don't give them values. We could give it a value, but we're about to change it down here. So we're simply saying, hello TypeScript, this class has a property, every instance has a property called first and last, they're both strings. And then in the constructor, we go ahead and change them, right? We set first and last. So now I could do new player, and let's do my dog, Elton, steal. That's his first and last, const Elton. Okay. And if we take a look at our index.js, we've got a much shorter file than we had earlier in the previous section. But we now have our class in here, although it doesn't use a class keyword. We have var. We've got function instead of the constructor, the named constructor function. But the end result is the same. We're creating objects based off of some object pattern. Okay, and we could change this instead of ES5, I think is what we're using now. We could change the target to be ES 2017 if we wanted, and it would look a lot different in our JavaScript. But of course, all this type stuff goes away. All of this that we did before the constructor is purely for TypeScript's benefit. That's how it knows that player.first is a string, and player.last is a string. And we could add other things in, but that's kind of all I wanted to show in this video. You will get errors if you just try and write a regular old JavaScript class like you would expect, and maybe you would think, oh, I'll just do this. I'll tell TypeScript it's a string right here before I give first a value, but that's not going to cut it. We need to give TypeScript a heads up. Now, there's another syntax we're going to see in a few videos from now that's even shorter, but this is really common and very totally valid TypeScript syntax. Okay.